So we're going to start making this wonderful chicken pot pie so you can get an idea of the kinds of things that John creates in his tiny kitchen for big people.
Yes.
Okay.
Big egos, by the way.
Yeah, big egos. Oh, okay.
So we can add the water to the pot.
Okay.
And we have really, really beautiful boneless and skinless organic chicken breasts and thighs.
So yeah, the ingredients are really important to you.
Very, very, very important. Yes.
Okay, so we're just going to create like a poaching liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which will become the chicken stock. So we have here. This is a sachet, a little garlic, thyme, and black peppercorns. And throw that right in there. And at home, you really need to be careful with raw chicken, as everybody probably knows by now. So I'm just going to use some tongs. Just put the chicken right in. These are 4 breasts or 2 chicken breasts.
Oh, for two chicken pot pies?
This is going to make us about 4 or 5 chicken pot pies.
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these are boneless and skinless thighs.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so that goes right in there. Okay. And we have the sachet, and you should always season any cooking liquid that you're going to use. I'm going to use a little salt and just a little bit of pepper. Okay. I would prefer to use if you use a fresh cracked pepper.
That's freshly ground. Oh,
okay,
no,
good.
We ground that for you today.
Very good. Okay. So carrots,
celery. How much celery? Like two stalks?
Yeah, it was about 2 stalks of celery, 1 medium onion.
Okay.
And these are some organic carrots.
Okay.
Okay. And this is going to make a really, really wonderful poaching liquid.
Okay, so we bring that to a boil and then just simmer for how long about?
It's probably going to take about 25 minutes
to
cook those. You cover it, and then chicken's like.
And that's what it looks like.
And that's what it looks like exactly.
So and then you have more carrots.
Right. Now all those vegetables we're gonna just discard. There's just the flavor of the broth.
That makes the stock. Okay.
Exactly, makes the stock. And now what I learned from you is if this is cool, and you pour this over ice, you'll get rid of all the fat. Learn that on your show.
Good.
See, I'm paying attention.
Good.
So we have blanched baby carrots here, which we didn't just oblique cuts. You can see that really nice little cuts.
Right.
These are pearl onions, and we're gonna blanch. You want to blanch the peas?
Sure. Okay, so do you use fresh peas, frozen peas?
Fresh peas in season, but otherwise there's some really nice organic peas right now you can use.
Okay, so we're going to blanch this just for
about a minute,
a few seconds, really. Okay. And
I'll get this going.
Okay, and then you do have mushrooms in it. Oh, good.
We do. We have
Yes,
cremini mushrooms.
I thought you did. Oh, it's the other one. Sorry.
It's all right. Okay, here we go. So this is just a little bit of butter, a little bit of olive oil. And I'm going to get this pan pretty hot.
So why is it so hard to get a reservation at Waverly?
Well, it's a tiny restaurant. It's only about 100 seats, and we're on a very quiet neighborhood corner on a very fancy block in the West Village. So we try to be very sensitive to our neighbors.
You know why it's so hard, everybody? Because there's no phone number listed yet. So unless you know somebody, you have to go to the door, ask the maitre d' if you can make a reservation, and you can. I mean, they'll make one for you.
We take reservations 3 days in advance,
right,
but only in person.
Okay. So you have to take a taxi down from your office.
Right.
Or fly a plane over to New York.
Send your assistant.
Well, it hasn't gotten any cooler in that place. I mean, it's been packed since day one, and it's still packed. So it is a very popular place.
Very, very fortunate.
You are. It's fantastic. Okay, so the peas are now blanched and just chilled in ice water, so everything is ready to assemble. See, I got very, very involved in these cooking segments. We're talking about the velouté, which is made from milk and cream, right?
Yep.
Butter?
Actually, we use straight cream in this and the stock that we made.
Oh, okay. Oh, stock and cream and flour to thicken it.
Right.
Any butter to start?
Yeah, the way to go is start off with some butter, melt the butter.
Okay.
Put your flour in. Okay. Cook your flour out a little bit.
Okay.
Add your cream. Stir it. Keep stirring constantly. You want to really cook the flour out. You want to taste any raw flour.
And then you put what in? You put this in it?
And then we're going to add a little Tabasco.
Yum.
And
what
a little bit of
Worcestershire?
Parents, yeah.
Okay.
There's some tamarind in there, which just makes it. Keep going. Great.
Okay.
I think we should taste it though.
Okay, we will. All right, and now your mushrooms are beautifully sautéed.
Yes. Want nice and brown. A little bit of butter, a little bit of oil, but you want them very, very, very
So
brown.
no wine in your pot pie?
No wine, no.
No wine,
no.
just...
But you can put wine. The cool thing about this pot pie, though, is you can really substitute any of it. This could be lobster, this could be turkey. You can go a little bit crazy.
Would you put salt and pepper in there or not?
I would, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it need it? You taste it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
I think. And I like that little bit of Tabasco in there.
Yeah, it's really makes
really
a difference.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the William Parents as well.
Oh, good.
Good, right? Okay.
Yep.
Great, because that's the key right there.
Really
It's going to flavor the whole thing. Okay.
Okay.
So we have our chicken right here that we diced into bite-sized pieces, and we're just going to add our pearl onions. Do you want to do that?
No, you do it.
Okay, I'll do it. This is my afternoon off, I thought.
I'm sorry. It's my morning on.
And then the peas.
This is great.
So, and then we'll just take this whole appareil.
I love that.
Which is a fancy word for...
And what about the mushies?
Yes, let's go ahead.
Okay, so we have to add the mushrooms here.
You got it. Okay, good.
Okay. We'll get those in. Now, what is the most asked for dish at Waverly?
Well, you know what? There's so many. We do sell a lot of food there. We have great steak and great oysters. The pot pie is really popular, but we have a Dover sole.
Oh yeah,
which is very
everybody
popular
likes that. I've had that several times
with just this plain hollandaise, and people really seem to love it.
That looks good. Now, what about the macaroni and cheese? Is that a popular?
That is very popular, and thank goodness now it's out of season.
Oh, it was ordered every time I've been there by somebody at the table.
Yes.
Yeah, and tables are big there. I mean, people come with 6 friends.
Right, it can be. Yes.
Yeah, it's nice.
It gets very crowded. So let's add the
okay,
the velouté. Great.
So you can make this all in advance.
So
if you were going to make this for a dinner party for tonight, you could do this all this morning before you go to work, right?
You could do up to really any part of it. You can just have this and have this ready. You can go as far as cooking them off and just holding them.
Yeah.
So this looks really good. Oh yeah. What we do at the restaurant is we'll bake them off at about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then we heat them up as we go.
Oh, good.
Right,
that looks great. Doesn't that look delicious, everybody?
This may need a little bit more seasoning, so let's taste it again.
You want to taste?
Yeah, do you mind?
Nope.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Here's your little.
Oh, thank you. Oh, good. All right, so a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper, and I think a little bit more Tabasco, if you don't mind.
Nope, I don't mind at all. That's great. Like that?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. So let's fill our cazuelas.
Oh, and that's another nice thing. The way you serve it is so nice in these beautiful dishes.
We found these. We discovered these. And
I'll fill those for you. You want to do the
yes.
puff?
We have 2 sheets. One large sheet of puff pastry. And I'm going to just cut around that a bit.
So how much filling? I don't.
You go right.
Right,
Yeah,
like that much?
Yeah.
A little more. It's generous.
Perfect, yes.
Okay.
Try to be generous. Always be generous in life and in cooking.
Yes. And don't send anybody away hungry.
No. All right, so I'm going to cut 2 of these out.
So what has Graydon Carter told you about the menu? Did he come and taste every single thing?
Every single thing.
Yeah.
Graydon's very involved. He has very good palate and very good taste, as you well know.
Yeah. Does he eat there every night?
He eats quite a bit, actually, yes. When he's not traveling and doing fabulous things.
Yeah. But what's his favorite dish? Can you tell?
He likes this pot pie quite a bit.
He does.
Yes.
Okay, so you have puff pastry.
Yep. And we're going to just cut a little round hole. Now, what we did at the restaurant, too, is we have little shapes. You know, star and little diamonds or whatever you want to do. So go ahead.
Okay, so then this comes off and just center it.
Yep, perfect.
Okay. You don't use water around the edge, anything like that?
I don't think it's necessary.
It just stays, huh?
Yeah.
And just let it hang over?
Let it hang right over.
Okay.
I'm going to do it right here, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I'm going to cut another hole in this one.
And then this goes back on the baking sheet.
Yep. This could be it's a little easier to work with when it's a little colder, but it's studio lights are...
Yeah, I know. It gets soft immediately.
So I'm just going to crimp
and then
the
egg
edges.
wash this.
Yes.
Okay.
Egg wash it and season it. Really important to season
What do you do with the leftover puff?
Make little palmiers.
Oh, good.
Nothing's wasted.
Right. Oh, so you actually do put it
okay. You want to really crimp it quite well.
Oh, okay.
Let me fix it.
Okay, fix it for me. I did not know. I did not know it had
My
to
fault.
be
My
crimped.
fault. I didn't give you...
So you want it to sort of steam and cook in there.
Exactly. And then the hole in the middle will let out the additional steam.
Good. I love this.
Right, so
how pretty it looks. Okay. And we are going to have a delicious pot pie when it comes out of the oven. And you do bake it for, what, 425 for about how long?
For about 20 minutes.
Okay.
If you have a convection oven,
Yeah.
even better. It cooks a little bit faster.
Okay. And it puffs, gets golden brown, and this is what it looks like when it's done, and I can't wait to dig a fork into this. Look at this. This is what comes to your place. It is a whole meal in a beautiful little dish, and when you dig into it, you have a creamy inside, a beautiful, tender, crusty outside. And thank you so much for sharing
You're very welcome.
your recipe. Pot pies have stood the test of time. Originally cooked on open hearths in Dutch ovens, they are the ultimate one-pot meal. And this one is filled with a delicious combination of tender chicken and flavorful vegetables. Chicken pot pie is, I think, the perfect choice for a cold winter night. Now, the first thing to do is to cook your chicken. This is a 3.5-pound plump, nice chicken. It's sort of a little bigger than most broilers and a little smaller than most roasters. Now put it in a large stock pot with water to cover. There, that's perfect. Bring it to a boil and then turn down the heat to a simmer. It's going to take about an hour to cook to 165 degrees on an instant read thermometer. Another thing to get ready are the vegetables. 1 medium onion that's peeled and cut into 1/2-inch pieces. 1 pound of Yukon Gold potatoes. Look how nice and yellow they are. Now these two are peeled and cut into about 1/2-inch pieces. 2 or 3 carrots, depending on size, again peeled and cut into chunks, and 2 cups of rich chicken stock. And in this heavy casserole, I have 5 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to saute the onions first for a little bit, then add the carrots, and then the potatoes. And you just cook until they're tender. Now, once that chicken is done, and you take the skin off and tear it into pieces, this is the size piece that you're looking for. Pretty uniform in size and well matched to the vegetables. So here the onions are just starting to soften. Add your carrots. And now add the potatoes. Oh, they are so beautiful. Get those coated with the butter. And so now after 10 or 12 minutes, the potatoes will be fork tender, as will the carrots. Add your cremini mushrooms. They're a little bit firmer than those everyday mushrooms. Aren't they pretty? This is a lovely filling, and it's made even a little bit lovelier by the next addition, which is 1/2 cup of cognac. Now, the cognac's going to deglaze the bottom of the pan, but it will also add a depth of flavor to the sauce, which I learned from an old friend years and years ago, that the addition of cognac to a chicken pot pie was just phenomenal. Let the flavor get infused into all those vegetables. Doesn't that look pretty? I love how it looks. And then 5 tablespoons of flour. Sprinkle over all the vegetables. Better to sprinkle than to dump it all in one spot, because this is what's really going to thicken your sauce. And you want to cook the floury taste out of the flour. So far, all the vegetables are still holding their shape, their color. You don't want to get them mushy in any way. Okay, now add 2 cups of chicken stock. Now the sauce will start to get thick. And 1 cup of whole milk. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. Bring to a simmer. And cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Then you'll see the sauce thicken nicely. You know how sometimes when you buy those prepared chicken pot pies and there's hardly any chicken and you wonder, why did I buy this? Well, now you don't ever have to buy one. You can make them. You can actually, after you put the pastry topping on, you can freeze the whole pie before you bake it. And you will have a fabulous meal for you and your friends or your family in the freezer. And we have 1 cup of peas. The little peas I like very much in this. 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh thyme leaves. 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. I use the flat Italian leaf parsley for this kind of cooking. And our chicken. And this is about 2 cups. Now it's nice and thick. Add the thyme. Add the parsley. And the peas. Very colorful, very healthy, very pretty, and fragrant. Those herbs really help. And then add your chicken. Now you can see why the homemade chicken pot pie is so superior to anything that you can buy. Look at all that chicken. Look at all the goodness that goes into the pot. Now season again with a little bit of salt. Of course, salt is good. And pepper. And our next step, fill the ramekins. Now this filling should be enough for 6 pot pies. And these are beautiful heavy-duty ramekins, which are intended for soufflés or pot pies like this. So put the solids in first. You can always fill with a little bit more of that delectable sauce. Now we're going to let them cool a little bit in the ramekins while we get the pastry ready. And we're using a pâte feuilletée, which is a traditional French puff pastry. And you can make your own. If you watched the baking show, Martha Bakes, you'll know how to make your own. But you can also buy pretty good quality puff pastry nowadays. This is a hearty meal. So you won't need much more than maybe a salad to start. It's very nice for a autumn lunch or a winter lunch or a main course for dinner. So just let the filling cool. Now, instead of making individual portions like this, you can make one large pot pie, which is also very beautiful. And I love to go to parties where one big pie serves a whole table of 8 or 10. So here's our puff pastry. Use a little bit of bench flour. You're going to need 2 sheets this size for the 6 pot pies. Work quickly because this softens so rapidly. It's filled with like 1,000 layers of butter and pastry. Now you can use, if you don't have access to a good puff pastry like this, you can use a pâte brisée, which is pie crust. And that works very nicely too. So that's number 1. Don't throw the scraps away. They can be used for decoration, for little palmiers for the kids, just for little snacks, baked with lots of sugar. There, so now we have our 3 rounds. Remove the excess neatly. And don't squish it all together because you can really reuse this for something. That should go right back into the fridge. And now these cut a vent hole in the center. Put these back on a parchment sheet and chill again just until they're really stiff, and that will enable you to use them easily. Now our pot pies have cooled enough so that we can apply the pastry top. And here are the pastry tops, nice and cool. Cold. Pastry rule, make it cold, bake it hot. Your oven should be preheated at 425. What I'm doing is applying glue, which is egg wash, just egg and water, to the edge of the ramekins. And you have to work really quickly to get this to stick, and then make a pretty edge around. You can sort of make it up. Everybody has a different method of crimping and folding. But there, that looks, I think, really cute, doesn't it? So work quickly, get all your pies done, and preheat your oven to 425 degrees. Before you get these into the oven, I would suggest egg washing like this. Then chill the whole tray again, just until the pastry is rigid, and you pop it into the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Oh, I love how these are crimping. These are crimping perfectly. The pot pies can be assembled and refrigerated, covered, for up to 1 day before baking and serving. They can also be put into the freezer well wrapped and kept for a week or 2 before putting into the oven. The puff has puffed, the centers have bubbled, one dish meal that your family is really going to go crazy over. This is something that I would like to learn how to make. It's sort of like a torta rustica for me, kind of a rustic, savory pie filled with, it's Italian pastry.
Italian
sweet,
pastry.
A little
bit sweet.
Yeah, I tasted it. It's
good
delicious.
With a salty prosciutto.
Yeah, it's really great. So why don't we just start right in on the crust, and I'm going to ask Cindy questions all along, like how long have you been baking?
Well, I've been baking as long as I can remember. I've been baking by my mother's side.
And we have some pictures too, if you want to put them in, Joey.
I've been baking by my mother's side as long as I can remember. I've been.
Is that Mom?
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Yes, that's my mother.
We found
yes.
some pictures.
And
what are you doing there? Look.
I don't know what I'm making there. There are a lot of bottles. I don't think I'm baking there. I look like I just...
Maybe you're making barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it looks like barbecue, something or
yeah,
other.
looks good.
Yeah. And there I'm chocolate fondue. That's showing my little love for chocolate there.
Oh, delish.
So we can move on to the recipe now.
So we're making the crust, and this is 2 cups of flour.
Yep.
And just regular all-purpose
Regular
white?
all-purpose flour and half a teaspoon of baking powder.
Is this your favorite kind?
Yeah, that's what I buy.
That's her favorite kind.
Baking.
Rumford.
And a 1/4 cup sugar.
Okay,
That's
so
a little more than you'd normally put in regular
I usually
pie crust.
put like a tablespoon. Right.
Yep. I do too. I follow your recipe.
And this is?
1/4 teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
And then you just whiz that up, pulse that up real quick. Mix it. All right, that's good.
So you like to pulse too?
I pulse,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It makes it more fun.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to I'll let you add the half a cup of butter. And we break it up into little chunks so it mixes up better.
So that's one stick
of
1/4
butter.
pound.
And this, look, you have to see, this is so easy to do because it will take us 5 minutes.
Okay,
now put the lid back on, please, and we're going to pulse that again. No whizzing here, just pulsing.
Just break up the butter?
Yep, break it up a little bit so it resembles like,
and 2 eggs.
And 2 eggs, yep. I got to beat those up. And we're going to whip those up. And actually put the lid back on. We're going to put this on.
Oh, okay.
Give that another couple pulses. It's not quite cornmeal
You like
yet.
it smooth?
Yeah.
Smoother, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to, just
Now,
let
does your
it go.
daughter make this?
Oh, she helps.
Cindy's daughter's in the audience, sitting
She
right
helps
there
a
in her
lot.
green sweater.
Okay, now just move it on.
Now, how long does that process?
I usually let it go about a minute until it'll start to form a ball in there.
Aren't these magic? I love these
What did we
food
do without
processors.
them?
Oh, we did it by hand.
Right.
Oh, there, it's already
There.
making a ball.
Okay.
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 Oh, this is beautiful. And so
Now-
this is a soft dough. It's not like a typical pastry dough.
Right.
Okay.
And now we're actually going to put it on a floured board over there.
I'll get you some flour.
All right. And we're going to knead it. So you ask how long I've been baking, and I have been baking a long time. And I'm going to date myself here, Martha, because I saw you speak in Boston in the mid-'80s, I think maybe 1985.
Oh, so right after my entertaining book came out.
Yes, and I still have it, and I still use it. In fact, I use it every Thanksgiving at least with several of your vegetable recipes.
Oh, good. Well, that's nice to know. That was a fun trip. I remember that trip. It's funny when you think back on all the appearances that you've made. Certain ones stand out. And Boston, I always loved going to Boston because I would go to the wharf and I would go downtown and I'd go eat clams, always clams, and clam chowder, of course.
Yep,
it's really
we have
fun.
Great food.
So what are you going to do for Thanksgiving? Do you make this pie for Thanksgiving?
No, it's a little not quite American enough. We kind of stick to the basics.
Is your family Italian, though? Is that where this recipe? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I just love Italian food. My husband loves Italian food. So,
great.
And my kids do too. So we're just going to knead this for like 3 to 5 minutes. And for you asked about Thanksgiving. Oh, I bake lots of pies, pecan pie and pumpkin pie and some cranberry bread.
Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to make this Thanksgiving. I think I'm going to have Thanksgiving at my house. Yeah, I'm going to make lots of squash pies. We have a piece of meat here for you to cut up into these like 2-inch squares. You want to finish cutting that up? Please. And then we are going to dredge the meat, salt and pepper it first. So get that cut up and salt and pepper the meat. Generously, not a lot. You don't need a whole lot of salt, but it's nice to season first. And then we're going to dredge and flour.
What's the flour for?
Well, dredging, this will help the meat brown nicely.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and we have a Dutch oven. That is, it has a little bit of olive oil in it. Oh, that's good. Okay. So these are, I'll just pepper and salt these right here. You can turn those over a little bit. And we can continue to, you want to continue to dredge?
Yes,
And
please.
I'll put this meat in the hot oil. And what we want to do, not a lot of oil, like 3 tablespoons of olive oil or safflower oil. And a nice unflavored oil is good.
Okay.
And we brown this on all sides slowly. Don't crowd the pan. Do you know about browning? You never crowd the pan.
Okay.
Because if you do, you're going to it'll take longer to brown, and then what we really want to do is just brown it. So that's enough at a time. See how few pieces?
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't want them to sweat. And they start to get brown pretty quickly.
Beautiful color.
Okay, so as you brown here, these are almost done in this pan, and you can see they're getting a nice caramelized color. Remove all the meat from the pot. Now these, if you tried to eat these, a little tough.
Okay.
You really have to cook this kind of meat for quite a while in order for it to be tender as desired. Now we have some garlic to go right into the pan.
Love garlic.
And 5 cloves of garlic and 1 medium yellow onion peeled and sliced. And we're just going to cook this just until it starts to, what they say, sweat, get a little bit transparent. And again, we're not adding any more fat. We don't want it fat. Are you the cook at your house?
Actually, I share the cooking responsibilities with my husband.
Oh, really? So he
Yes.
likes to cook too?
He does.
So
He
what's your
really
favorite thing to make?
does. We do shrimp tacos or pulled pork.
Oh, yum.
And
How do you cook the
barbecue-
pork?
I've done it in a crock pot, actually.
Oh, that's sort of braising. Do you know that?
No, I didn't
Oh, it
realize
is.
that.
It is. I mean, it's a long process of slow cooking. That's kind of braising.
Oh, okay.
Do you brown the pork first? Not
Not normally.
Okay,
but,
so generally, if you're going to you brown it first, then you slow cook it.
Okay.
Okay, so the
try
onions
that.
are getting cooked. We have a couple sprigs of rosemary. And then we have the oven preheated to 300 degrees. And now we can just put all this meat right back in here on top of the onions. I love short ribs. Do you?
Yes, I
Yeah.
love ribs.
Now these are the bone out, okay? The bone's been removed. And so just put this all in one layer here. And you're going to bake this for 2.5 hours. So you can't come home from work at 5 o'clock. Do you work?
No,
Oh,
I'm stay at home.
Oh, you're stay at home? Do you have kids?
Yes.
Oh, how
yes,
many?
I have 2.
Oh, lovely.
I have Nathan is 6 and Everett is 4.
Oh, great. What are they going to be for Halloween?
Nate wants to be Ben 10. I don't know if you know who he is.
Ben 10.
He's
No.
a character. And
No.
Everett would like to be a pirate.
A pirate. Well, those are good costumes. Are you going to make or buy?
Probably by
Oh.
this point. I'm sorry to say.
Well, in our special issue, we have a lot of great costume ideas for kids.
Okay.
And now, see what I'm adding? I'm adding stout. Now, I learned a funny fact. Do you know when the first pot pie was made?
No.
I think it was 1951 by the Swanson company. And I remember begging my mother, begging her to buy Swanson pot pies. They had chicken pot pies, and I think they had beef pot pies. And Mother, scoffed at the idea of buying something like a pot pie. But we snuck them in sometimes to eat, and we would always look see how many pieces of chicken we got in it,
Yes.
It was like the game. But we loved those frozen pot pies. Convenience food in those days was kind of like, unusual.
Yes.
But now there are lots of pot pies to choose from. But they're so easy to make that I suggest you try these. These are so good. So now bring that to a simmer, cover, and put right into an oven for about 2.5 hours. You can do it really, really slowly on top of the stove.
Okay.
But if you want to go out and go shopping for 2.5 hours, you can put it in the oven at 300 and feel fine.
Wonderful.
Okay? And don't forget it.
Okay. That's
So
the key.
after 30 minutes, you're going to add the cipollini onions. These are cipollinis,
I
little
wasn't
flat.
sure what those
Yeah, they're
were.
cute little onions. Peel them. And you're going to add those also for added flavor after 30 minutes, and they're going to stay in there for 2 hours. The braised short ribs with the beautiful cipollini onions. That really, it's just delicious. Now, you can eat this with the big pieces of meat in it just as a stew. But when you take the meat out, and you know how to pull pork, so you pull beef. Mm-hmm. Okay, pull so beef. Shred it, into smallish pieces. That's good. Now, do you do that when you do pork with forks, or do you do it with your fingers?
I do it with forks as well.
Oh, yes. Okay. And then I'm going to put the meat, once it's shredded, right back into our gravy. And the onions have gotten very tender. And you use about, it looks like around 18 or 20 of those small cipollini onions. And this will make 8 pot pies. So it's a nice dinner. I mean, if you're going to have an autumn dinner party, this is a very nice thing to serve.
Delicious.
Yeah, and with the stout, you know what it reminds me of? There's a French dish. You keep doing it. Hurry up. Sorry. Sous chefs have to
quickly
hop to, as they say.
Now, if I don't have those little pie plates, is there another alternative?
You can use custard cups, the larger custard cup.
Okay.
Those Pyrex dishes, or you can use little individual ramekins if you like. Gratin dishes. Do you have gratin dishes?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Sure?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay. So get that pulled a little bit better, a little smaller. And then this will get put in even amounts. And start off with like 1 scoop per dish, like this. So easy, no crust. Usually a pot pie. Okay, so put that back in here, and then you can fill the dishes.
Okay. Ooh, excuse me.
Don't worry. Everything goes in. It's all delicious. And the meat tastes utterly fantastic. So remember, that's the meat, the stout, which is the beer-like liquid, and onions. And then the potato topping, we want to use russets or really nice Maine potatoes.
Okay.
And we're going to use a mandolin. Now, a beginner can use one of these gloves. Okay. Have you used a mandolin before?
I have never.
That's enough. You have 8 of those.
Oh, I have to.
Yes.
Divvy it out.
Yep, divvy it up.
I was giving generous portions.
Well, it'll be generous, but don't get it on the edges, because then you have to wipe. Okay, and you can make the filling in advance, no trouble whatsoever, and keep it for a day or so. Yeah, we have to. Don't let it go over the edges, because this is going to be served at a fancy dinner party. And so use the mandolin and use a nice dry potato and slice very thinly. See how thin it is? Because then these will cook nice and crispy on top of your pot pie. And do never look away while you're slicing if you don't have a glove on. Even if you have a glove on, you do not want to.
Intimidating.
Well, it's a little scary. You can try this if you want, but you're not finished filling. You have to do one or the other.
My job.
I'm being tough on the sous chef.
That's
She's
okay.
fantastic. And you want to know something?
It.
She can take it.
I can.
She's not nervous. She's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, I'm salt and peppering the potatoes. They can take like a half a teaspoon of salt or something on all these potatoes, and the olive oil will brush on top of them. But you have to act quickly, because potatoes tend to turn black once they're peeled and sliced. They start to get first blue, then black. Oh, you have to use it all.
Oh,
yep.
Sorry.
Here's
no
this one
waste.
doesn't have much.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. Here, this one looks nice and full, and I'll show you how we're going to. Yeah, just divvy it up.
I will.
And you go around and around and around with your potato slices, very tight concentric circle. So that, but you have to do it individually. You can't take a whole blob and just plop it on there, because then the potatoes first of all, they don't look nice, but they also don't cook beautifully if you do that. And so the recipe asks for 6 russet potatoes. Now, if they're giant potatoes, you can probably get away with 4. And that looks good, yeah. And all that delicious gravy.
It smells
This
delicious.
one needs a little bit more.
Okay. I will stop.
That one looks a little skimpy. And preheat your oven to 375 degrees. And then you bake until golden and bubbly, which takes approximately 45 minutes.
Okay.
So you're cooking the meat yet again, but don't worry, it's not going to get overcooked. Braised meat is pretty, a little bit more gravy.
Yes. Right
That's good.
here.
That looks
Okay.
excellent.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'd love to invite your mother up to, and your sister whose birthday we're celebrating. Come on up. Margie.
Yes, Margie and Kimberly.
Come on over. And you can taste what your sister just helped make. Here's a very cute, I think this is, it's hot, but that's okay. Here's a little pot pie for you, birthday girl.
Thank you.
And for Mother Margie, that's for you. Oh, I hope you like these. Do you like beef?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you can make different pot pies with fish in the filling. You can do it with shellfish. You can do it with chicken, of course, with duck. And you will all have a... It's so pretty served even like this. It's charming, don't you think?